Let me go back up here just a minute. I want to give you some brief history. The association, as many of you know, started in 1989. By year 2000, our membership was roughly 100 in that range, an exact amount. And that number stayed pretty consistent up and even into the 90s numbers up until around 2006, just prior to 2007. And then all hell fell apart. We know what happened from that standpoint. In that process, if you look at the line here, you can see this is basically, this is maybe a little hard to see, you know, this is kind of the starting point, 2000 and coming forward. And this little orange line here represents people that were applicants, and then the blue line is actually members. Let's talk about what's called an 80-20 rule. An 80-20 rule basically means that in this particular context regarding home inspectors, of all of the home inspectors that are around the city of Atlanta, approximately 20% of them are code certified. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're ICC combination certified. It just means that they have at least taken some of the code tests and have been successful in completing them. So 20%, that's not a whole lot. Well, all the GAHI members that are ICC R5 certified, stand up. If you're ICC combination certified, stand up. You should be proud of the fact, number one, you have gone through the process that 80% or probably more of the people who do property inspections do not hold the credentials that you hold. Just think about that for a minute. I mean, in our conversation here just a minute ago with the DCA, talking about decks and other various things, okay? Now, that's okay. Go ahead and sit back down, because I may ask you a couple of you to stand up again, okay? And we thank you for your support. The majority, a large number of those members who are code certified belong to this association. Who here by 2022 will still be inspecting homes? Who's not going to be retiring in the next 5 years? Stand up. Okay. What does that tell you? All right, sit down. Thank you. Appreciate your support. In July, a questionnaire was sent out to what's that? It's a monkey thing.
Yes, Survey Monkey.
Okay, whatever it was. There's a survey that went out. Okay. All right, and we had a number of questions that we asked you guys to answer. And we asked, and two specific questions said that 55% of our current members by 2022 plan on being retired in some form, whether they're retired partially and maybe do a job or two a week if they want, or do not do this at all. Another question that was asked had to do with the ICC certification and membership status in this organization. And 65% of those that completed the survey and sent out said that they would be in favor of providing a membership status in the association with restrictions if they're not an R5. R5, we all know what that is. That's full ICC combination certification. So 65% of us already at that stage felt that there should be some allowance made for members, for people to come and be a member of the association who are not at an R5 level. We currently operate under a paradigm which basically is a means of looking or establishing or creating an understanding as to how to recognize a particular standard in this particular case for our paradigm. The current paradigm is all members must be R5 combination certified. That means at a trained level, the minimum base level of this association, you have to be an R5 to start with, okay? For years, GAHI has benefited from the opportunity of having a school. We call it the Tim Birch Academy. And it was a very successful school in training in this business. It not only provided a training for methodology approach in how to physically go and look at a property, but it also provides code training for people to stand the ICC test. You know, it's an open book test. You know, so how hard can it be? Well, just think about it. 80% of the people who do this job don't take the test. They already know. If they even took the CABO test when it was still around up to the year 2001, 2002 maybe, or something like that. I took the last CABO test without ever taking a code class. And I had to take code classes after that. So you all recognize what it's not an easy test, even though it's an open book test. Since that period of time, we've lost instructors basically for just general matriculation. They've moved out of state, they've gone to other professions, or not necessarily professions, but other areas of the inspection industry. And obviously we lost one of our most ardent supporters last year, Gary Lewis. And I think just about everybody in here had the opportunity to know Gary. And it was a big loss for us in many ways. So your board of directors has been working to try to, number one, fill the void, and also look at our membership levels and how we address them for the association. We have found three elements. Number one, an association, AHIT, and we have talked about this in the past. AHIT, if I get the acronym correctly, is American Home Inspectors Training.
Correct.
Is that it? Okay. AHIT is a training organization of which we have vetted to determine that they meet at least reasonable parameters for us from the standpoint of methodology in approaching and looking at a home. That's a cost of $895 for the person who's going through their program. We get a referral fee from them for anyone that comes to us and that we point them in their direction. They sign up and pay to take their training classes. And their training classes vary. A lot of times it's online training. They do offer classroom training in limited areas around the country. They're not based here. They're based Wisconsin?
Yes.
Okay, gee, I remembered all that.
By the way, Joe, the referral fee goes toward that particular student's first year GAHI dues.
Right.
It really doesn't benefit the association. It goes specifically for that student.
Let me explain to you what he was just telling you. We have an arrangement by where if we send somebody to a HIT, they sign up for their class, that person can, from that standpoint, become an applicant to the association. Applicant only, that's it. Bingo. They have, all that's been done is a little bit of money's been shoved through the mail slot in the door, but the door hasn't opened, okay? We've also looked to see about ICC training. The ICC doesn't train anybody. Let me say this, as far as code standards go and preparation for code tests. So, the ICC is partnered with England Enterprise Training Division, LLC. It is the only ICC certified training program, get this thing where I'm talking into it, a cost. 4 modules, going through the 4 modules, and you can read here what they have a certified instructor. The whole thing costs $2,356. There's also a program for the Construction Exam Center, which provides a study hall type program, which allows the guys to get together. It's online with an instructor to review the process, to prepare themselves for the test. That collectively for all 4 is $3,000. So you can already see right now it's a considerable cost, as we all know, the cost in coming up to this training process. AHIT does their focus is not as much, has as much to do with training you to know how to look at a house, but also how to stand the National Home Inspector's exam. The National Home Inspector's exam, and I'm not going to read through all the verbiage that's written up there, but it basically is a focus for nationwide processes of learning to inspect homes. There are obviously things in that exam that don't necessarily comply for us, but it has geographic locations to it. But that's just the difference in the fact that it's a national test. Other inspector organizations outside of GAHI accept this test successfully completed as part of their membership standing with that particular association, ASHI being certainly one of them. We too accept that exam. Anyone coming to us that's taken the National Home Inspector's exam, we accept that as obviously being successful in completing it. Most states require this test to be successfully completed where there's a licensing process for the state. Georgia doesn't carry licensing, and we've all been through that particular process, and we understand how that works. But all the bordering states around us all require licensing, and this is one of the processes that they put as a requirement for their licensing.
So in essence, that is the standard for most home inspection organizations.
That is the standard for most home inspector organizations to be one of the things that one of the hurdles you have to pass, complete, to be a part of the association. And I'm sure Scott, you recognize, I guess, obviously ASHI does that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. For everybody who doesn't know, Scott's the current president of the Georgia Association for ASHI. We're thinking about the GAHI branch should continue to encourage, promote, and assist members to become R5 certification. That's our focus. That's not going to change. The GAHI brand will not, by encouraging the opportunity for people to become part of this association at a particular level, is not going to dilute what we are currently accept as a standard. All ICC code certified members, such as you are sitting right here, will come under a new classification. You'll become ICC code certified master inspectors. And we'll get into the definition shortly as to where these various levels separate themselves out. We don't want to exclude people because right now it comes kind of almost an exclusionary process. If you're an applicant, the best that you've got is to put your money through the door and say, I'd like to be a part of the association, but that's where it kind of ends until you right now have taken the process of becoming an R5. So let's prepare to look at a new paradigm for the association. GAHI is all about member, education, experience, continuous improvement in order to achieve certification as an ICC R5 certified inspector. Retaining the requirement for an ICC certification is not going to change. We are going to have that level as the primary element, as the top level membership of this association. We want to work as a fast track for new associate members to get to that level, using AHIT as the base element for anyone who's coming into this industry that maybe has come out of the construction industry or whatever, but doesn't have a real grasp as to the methodology and the approach and going and looking and inspecting a house. Because as you all know, I mean, we got hundreds of years of experience sitting here in this room of people who've inspected houses collectively. I don't know anybody, I mean, I don't, maybe Jim has 100 years worth, but he's by himself. But anyway, we understand inspecting a house has a process to it. It's not just standing out there and just kind of meandering around. There is a process to it, and each of us have our methodologies and approach. But there is a standard of practice of which our association, just like ASHI, has a standards of practice for these for an inspection process looking at the house. So we encourage people for AHIT to start with if they've not come to that level at all. We currently require entry-level associates to pass the National Home Inspector's exam. This is a little different than where we have been in the past because someone can come to us. We have had an orientation exam dealing with the methodology approach of looking at property, as well as we have a standards of ethics exam process. And then the other aspect, of course, comes onto quantities, number of inspections, ICC certification, etc. We want to continue. Charlie?
Everybody understands that when Joe says what he just said, we are proposing that we go to
Right. Let's understand. This is a proposal, and we're going to get to the proposal. This is all kind of just preliminary stuff to kind of help you understand our thought and process in getting to the point of making the actual proposal for the change of the bylaws. So, GAHI currently has 4 member levels: applicant, trained, qualified, certified. Each of those levels mean applicant, just like I said, somebody who's stuck that money through the door, says, I want to be a part of the association. Wonderful, thank you for the money. You have to do this, 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 and this, and this to find the key to open the door, okay? When you get to current, trained, qualified, obviously certified, all those levels currently require R5 certification. Sink it in. That means a guy who's done less than 50 home inspections still has to be an R5. That's currently where we stand. Okay. The member level titles are unique to GAHI, and they're not easily transferable to other associations, such as ASHI. So what we're looking to do, we're proposing that we revise our membership level titles to be more in sync with the industry as a whole. 4 proposed membership levels. Associate, we no longer call them applicants, we call them basically associates, and we'll describe shortly what each of these mean and what the qualification requirements are. Associate inspector, certified inspector, which at this current time we all fall under the classification as a certified inspector. And then code certified master inspector. So let's keep it simple and easy for non-GAHI members to understand. It's confusing to not only people coming in and wanting to be a part of the association, it's somewhat confusing to real estate agents and obviously to clients that we deal with who maybe have a couple of 3 home inspections done in a lifetime, depending on how frequently they move. That they're not going to. All they know is that how much does it cost? That's all they want to know. They really don't care anything about your qualifications, because most of the time, I don't say they all don't, but many of them obviously know that the first question out of their mouth is how much does it cost and when can you do it? Okay, by keeping GAHI membership levels similar to to other leading professional associations, GAHI should attract members who see the benefits of having a dual membership, possibly with whether it would be with InterNACHI or with ASHI, and we certainly have dual members that are already part of our association as a whole. So inspector, associate, inspector, certified, and code master certified. 80-20 rule. So right now we exclude a lot of people from having a sense of connectivity with the association. I mean, they can say they're an applicant, but that has kind of some element of a negative connotation. If somebody says, well, you're an applicant, what does that mean? Does it mean you filled out a form and gave it to them? That's what it means. So we're looking to try to broaden our prospective membership. So, we'll have Charlie pass these sheets out. I mean, the others might pass these sheets out so you'll have something in written form. But as they're doing that, we can see on the left side of the screen over here is what our current levels are. Applicant means they passed our orientations and ethics exam. They've submitted an application fee of $275. That's it. Trained level. 2 years experience or 80 hours of training combination with the 2 past orientation exams and an R5, 25 inspections, and then that progresses on up till we get as you can see, the only differences that exist between here, here, and here is this number. That simply means that they've accomplished that many fee-paid inspections with an appropriate evaluation of selected inspections to conform to the standards of practice. That's where we are. That's where we've been. And this has been, to a fair degree, some element of a stumbling block, because other people wanted to be a part of the association. By our interpretation and conversation, feel somewhat defeated, because number one, to get to an R5 today is an arduous process. And it's an expensive process. Each of us are big people. We're grown-ups, and we're looking at this as our own business. And a lot of people, I don't think, or some of them sometimes don't recognize that. They think this is kind of, you know, you come in, you pass your cards out, you talk to somebody, slap them on the back, say, yeah, come take a look at my house, and $150, I'll come and let you know what's going on. I mean, it isn't like that, as all of us know that. We've been doing this a long time. We know how much it reasonably should cost to do a true professional inspection and report it correctly. So, associate level, just joined, or maybe a seasoned inspector who's not yet completed the GAHI requirements, or municipal inspector. We have requests for us to potentially bring in people who are municipal inspectors. This is another process by making another level of membership of the association. And that's not specifically what we're talking about here, that's another element, but to let you know that we do have people who are municipal inspectors, DeKalb County, Fulton County, Gwinnett County, who are interested. Now I know that they have their own association, but they see us as a conduit for providing high quality information about inspecting of properties, just like what Bill did this morning. I mean, that's probably one of the best high quality inspections, and we really didn't get into stone and other cladding, and he's got a whole process on that. Some information, things that we should really know. And as we progress on up the line, we see inspector. Inspector has 75 fee paid inspections, has met all the other qualifications to the National Home Inspectors exam. An associate member still has to do some inspections. They have to have 25, at least 25 fee paid inspections that reasonably are consistent with the standards of practice. They're inspectors that are reviewed. We've all been through that process. They still have to have 25 hours all the way up the line of CEUs for renewal on the process. So all we're doing here is kind of giving someone who is looking to genuinely be in this industry an opportunity to say, I can be a part of a highly respected, well-recognized professional association within this industry, specifically, obviously, in the state of Georgia, and say that I am a member at a specific level. And as we progress on up, over at the side over here, you can see what the privilege variations are. Listed in the associate section on our website. There's going to be some changes made on the website so far as the inspector listing. Currently, right now, if you're an applicant or if you're a full certified member, you're all on the page, and it's just the label under there. And if people look at that, that's fine. If they don't look at that, then they all consider us equal. It's kind of like licensing, you know. Your license is home inspectors, and everybody's the same. Everybody knows the same thing. We know that's not the case. As we progress on up the line here, it says, when we get into the inspector category, they have completed at least 75 fee paid inspections, and they follow all the other standards that basically progress on up. But they do get a logo privilege, and that basically is the little house with the GAHI in it. They don't get anything else. They don't get to say certified, anything above that. But they can list themselves as an inspector, as a base member of GAHI. The next level is certified. Again, they have now achieved the 250 level fee paid inspections that conform, and they get basically, there's no great difference between the privileges here and here. Here's where the difference falls into place. All our 5 certified members are at the top of the list. When they open the page up, find an inspector, you're there, just like we've been doing. You are classified a code certified master inspector, and from that point you are at the top of the list. Everything below that. So the impetus is on the members that fall below this level to get to this level. That's always the way it's been. When I came to this organization almost 15 years ago now, I recognized pretty quickly that I had to get an R5 combination certification. in order to let them know that I have gone through all the processes necessary to understand and learn as much as I can about what a house should have in it and be in place, so they feel confident enough to hire me. I cannot understand why any inspector doesn't recognize that. And it's our focus and our purpose to say, if you want to be a part of the association, great. You want to be part of what is basically the top of the crop when it comes to certifications in this industry. And if I'm not mistaken, this is probably one of your most important certification labels when you're promoting yourself. You're promoting yourself to clients. You're promoting yourself to real estate agents. Builders know who we are, especially obviously in the Atlanta area. They know us because as you have come across people that want a new construction inspection, one of the things they ask for in there is that inspector has to be a member of either ASHI or GAHI. They know right away with GAHI, as it stands right now, as an R5. But an R5 master certification is what they're asking for. So, our proposal is this, that we make a change in our bylaws to adopt this process, this method of approach for obtaining new members. It gives those people who are coming in, who want to be a part of the association, who are becoming active within the inspection industry, have at least 25 fee-paid inspections, can come in, take the National Home Inspector's exam, cover those hurdles, ethics exams, all those elements, and understand what the requirements are for 25 hours worth of CEUs on an annual basis. To be a part of this association, we give them the opportunity to say, I am part of the association. I get to 75, I'm working myself to death to get to 75, find 75 people who will willingly let me look at their $500,000 home and tell them what's good and what's not good about it. And then that's the next level, Charlie.
Excuse me.
Sure.
One of the things I'd like for you to emphasize with these categories is that on our website, nobody would be listed on two separate pages. In other words, there would be a separate page for each category or membership level on the website. So only the R5 code certified master inspectors would be on the primary page. And then you'd have to go to a completely separate page for each of the other levels so that we're not diluting the code certified inspectors on the website.
Right.
And those pages would explain what each of those levels mean.
So let me get it, maybe I didn't make that as clear as I could have, and Charlie just clarified it for us. Okay. Part of the requirement then, responsibility comes back on your board of directors, because we have to provide, we first, not by ourselves, because you have to do this too. This is your association. It doesn't belong to your board of directors. We're just part of your group that's sitting out here. But we have to provide knowledge to the real estate agents, to our clients, the understanding of what the differential makes. Obviously, it makes these guys' jobs harder to a point to get business. And I'm sorry. I mean, most of the time, people are going to want an inspector who feels like they've looked at a few houses and more than maybe even 75 or 150 for that matter. But that's the client's choice. It is a process that we all go through in marketing ourselves and marketing to the real estate community as a whole to get people to look at us as a viable opportunity for doing the property inspections. So the focus here is as much emphasizing to these individuals at this level that you need to get to the R5. And we bear responsibility of making that a clear understanding on the website as to what each of these categories mean. And then part of it is also your responsibility, and when you're talking to your real estate agents, when you're talking to your clients, to let them understand, what your qualifications are and what those qualifications mean. Okay? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, thanks.
All right. That clock is actually just a fraction fast. but that's okay. I would like the board of directors to line themselves up here.
You got a couple more slides.
Oh, you're right, Charlie. I thought this, yeah, you're right. All right, so this is kind of pretty much what we just touched on, and this is basically we're looking for this to be voted on for the 2018 year coming forward. This is our first this is our formal presentation. It'll be brought up again in the November meeting because our bylaws require us to present this twice, and then it'll come as a voting requirement for the first year. Our expectation is that our level will change as far as our membership. Membership carries with it not only numbers, but it also carries financial support. We are not financially in trouble. We've got good funds, we're financially in good shape. But we also have to look forward down the road as to where we're going to be in 5 years from now when I'm looking, not me, whoever's standing up here might be looking at you guys and see 20 guys.
You know, when all the old farts retire.
Yeah. Yogi Berra said, when you come to a fork in the road, you got to take it. All right. I think the picture speaks well for itself.
I've talked to lots of people who would like to be a member of GAHI, but they really don't care about being a code certified inspector. They don't really care about inspecting new houses, but they would like to earn the title of certified inspector. So they go to ask you. Ask you they can be a certified inspector without being code certified. Here, now if we pass this, they can come here, and it won't dilute our category, us, because we'll be classified as code certified master inspectors. So it just gives an opportunity for some good home inspectors to join us rather than ask. That's the way I look at it.
Careful, we got ashy friends.
I now turn the floor over to our esteemed, whichever it is, President, Mr. Parker.
Well, let me just comment and kind of give you my perspective on this. When I joined GAHI in 2007, obviously GAHI is and was the exception to the standard garden variety general requirements for home inspector. As you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but here in the state of Georgia, there are no requirements for being a home inspector. And so, as we have tried to grow our membership over the years, it's become a difficult argument, let's put it that way, to try to convince someone that comes to our meeting, and you're here, I ask every time that we have a meeting, are you new? Is this your first time here? And people will raise their hands, and we go around the room, and they range anywhere from have been in the inspection industry for a while, all the way down to the pastry chef. Okay, you're here, you hear them say that, all right? And we want members, we want to grow the association, but it began to feel like it was, as they say in business school when I got my MBA, barriers to entry. Now, barriers to entry are okay when you're Harvard or Yale with a PhD program, and that's what I equated to the board of directors to basically, as far as I'm concerned, GAHI is like having a PhD from Yale or Harvard. But not everybody is cut out, and not everybody wants a PhD from Yale or Harvard. So at some point, Yale and Harvard, you have to come up, I believe, to use the academic terms, an undergraduate program. At some point, if you're going to continue to survive, and if you're going to grow, and there are a lot of good graduate schools out there that are graduate schools only, but they remain small and exclusive, and that's fine. But it got to where people were basically beating on our door and saying, look, we see GAHI. We know what GAHI is. We recognize GAHI. Heck, you got the DCA folks coming. Your, Emory thing every year is wonderful. We love GAHI, but golly, Pete, you got to be a PhD to be a member. Okay? And so your board, me personally, I have people come up and ask me, what do I got to do to be, a member of GAHI? Well, the first thing I got to tell you is, before you can even raise up from applicant, is you got to take a series of 5 exams if you take the National Home Inspector and all 4 of them and so forth and so forth. And before you know it, they're gone back home and we never see them again. So for me, yes, the PhD graduate school level stuff is still there, and that's what we have tried to inculcate, is your 75-cent word for today. It is try to inculcate into this program that designation, and we can talk about how we're going to make that work, but that designation is still there. You still have your PhDs, and when they go down the line at commencement, they're the guys and gals that have the orange, and the purple around their neck because they're the PhDs. And then you got all the undergraduates over there that just have the black robes, okay? That's, in my mind, that's what we're doing. We've basically been colorful robes. We've had purple and orange tassels around our necks for a long time, and we enjoy that. Because quite honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, just between us girls here, you guys are pretty smart, okay? I mean, heck, you know me, I'm a professional engineer, and I hitched my horse to you guys early in the process. Because things like this code stuff with the deck, look, you guys are some of the only ones that really even care. You go out to some of these job sites and talk to the little superintendent, which could be, young enough to be my son. They really don't know or really don't care. So you guys are pretty smart. And we're, as far as I'm concerned, like I tell you, we're the guys with the PhD level. But you get young folks, especially coming out of AHIT, now that we're hooked up with AHIT, I'll just tell you, we got 32 students in the wings that are looking to join GAHI, that are coming, they're flowing out of AHIT. People are going to schools, learning how to be home inspectors. But the sad fact is, we don't have anywhere to put them, guys, and that's what we're struggling with. We got them knocking on the door, we just can't do anything with them. And so we're wanting to mix it up, if you will, try to make some categories, put some pigeonholes, labels, whatever you want to call it, that we can accept these people. And again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, and you may know some of these people. We've got some applicants that have been applicants for 2 years. And, if it were me, I'd say, well, golly, Pete, you at least need to move on up. But as it is, it's like a giant step. They've got to go from freshman to PhD. And as far as I'm concerned, we really don't have any freshman, sophomore, junior, senior type matriculation. There's your other 75-cent word. So, yes, sir.
I just throw this out to start the conversation. And I've been in these conversations and partly responsible for the categories that we have today.
Yes.
So I'm not new to these conversations. Really, in thinking about it, and hearing what Joe said, and hearing what you said again, and thinking about this whole thing, I really think the certified inspector and the inspector categories ought to somehow be combined and just have an associate, an inspector, and a code certified master inspector. Because there's some confusion too, where you use the word certified as a code certified master inspector, and then you got certified inspector. And I think the public is not going to be able to parse that out. Now, I don't know what that mid-level thing ought to be, where you get another adjective in there to describe that inspector, that home inspector. Maybe it's just GAHI home inspector, and you change this from 250 feet paid inspections to the certified inspector, or 75 for the inspector. There's some midpoint, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 125. But I really think that would get the improvement we want. Having these 4 categories, and I'll take some responsibility for having 4 categories. I think it's just confusing for the public, it's confusing for everybody.
Well, also the reason why it was proposed the way that we've done it is that these first 3 levels match what other professional associations have.
Totally understand.
And that makes some sense to hopefully attract dual memberships from those other associations. And the public has already been educated on the terminology through the national associations like ASHI on what this terminology means. So the keep it simple, the keep it simple mentality was so that we don't do something different, that we go with the norm on those first 3 categories. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, but
I understand, I understand it, because you see that all of a sudden, because we've actually added a 4th level to what otherwise other associations, Scott, help me here, I mean, so far as ASHI's levels, how are they labeled out?
Exactly like yours.
Yeah, they're just like what you're proposing. There's 4, and it's confusing.
Okay, what are the 4 levels specifically titled that ASHI uses?
I'm not even able to tell you exactly. because
Mike, you can-
Yeah, I just pulled it up on their website. They've got associate, it's the same requirements as proposed.
Okay,
Associate, inspector, and certified inspector.
okay, but the 4th level is what?
They don't have a 4th.
They don't have.
They don't have.
They don't have 4.
We would
Okay.
be the 4th.
Okay,
We would have the
And
4th.
Russell.
You know, 80% of ASHI inspectors are code certified.
right.
The
And
ASHI
Russell,
doesn't,
we
you know,
wanted
just
to
doesn't
keep it
require
this
it.
way so people could compare us with ASHI, because ASHI is the larger association. We didn't want such a big difference that people couldn't compare apples to apples. This way, you know, it's very easy for people to compare.
Yes, sir, we had a question right here. Go ahead.
Well, just like Star Wars, master should be first. So in other words, it would be easy to understand that we were the masters of the.
Well, that would be the case on the website, that master would always, that level.
Well, now I'm saying master precedes the sentence of master code certified.
Okay, master's
Okay,
first.
oh, you're talking about
Yeah,
just the labeling of the word.
yeah, it would be
Okay.
more
And this is why we're
understandable.
having this today, so we can get input. It's your association. We're just trying to make it work for everybody. We came up with some ideas. Please give us some feedback.
Okay, over here, we had, over here, and then we got a couple over here.
It seems like the theme of everyone is to compete with ASHI, which is a national organization. We're Georgia Association, but really it ought to be just Atlanta Association of Home Inspectors. 'Cause
I don't think
we don't reach outside the South very much.
Oh, we
I'm
got
out there.
people, we got
We
people
do,
other
we do,
than,
we do.
you
We
know,
got a few-
He goes
Eric
back.
But the overall scheme of things, it's just really
Jim's
Atlanta.
way out there.
Okay?
But maybe we
My
want to
question
get more
is,
people
what was
in.
the original viewpoints of the founders of GAHI? To be the elite, to expand past these other organizations. They achieved that by the Tom Birch Academy, okay? Now, I understand a lot of things happen. You know, for one, the Tom Birch Academy was one of the few that ITA moved in, if you remember that, before the crunch. ITA moved in and they created a code certification course in the city of Atlanta. And that's when the Tom Birch Academy started kind of slumbering a little bit. And then the economy hit, the economy problem, and then everything blew to pieces, okay? Now, we're in full recovery mode. ITA is not here anymore. Why back up? Why not? as
Because
they
we're
say,
down
politics,
45%
put your
in our
foot in the gas
membership.
pedal. I know where you're coming from.
We don't have people
But
to teach.
why devalue the original viewpoint of the founders of GAHI?
Well,
Just
why
to
not
compete with ASHI.
do both?
Huh?
You have the
You know,
opportunity
okay,
to
you
hold
said
the standard
5
high
people.
as ICC code certified,
That
but we
master
need to attract
certification-
members to
that
encourage
master
them
certification
and
is
promote
key.
them to be
At the
ICC
beginning
code
of this, you
certified.
said, how many people are gonna retire in 5 years? Okay, you see the end product of that, okay? The same thing applies to your master of certification. In 5 years, how many people are gonna be left as code certified? Not many. That's the brunt of the organization, not if they don't have to. And then that gives another thought. once that happens, why even bother with, sure, we have superior training, in my opinion, okay, than any other organization. But why be a member of GAHI when you get the same thing as ASHI and International?
Because if we don't increase membership, there won't be.
Because there's not
I
going to be
think
any
the master was still
qualified,
sustaining what
certified,
he's saying,
unless you're
because
forced to take
if
that
the
step.
master is there, that still remains the highest.
Why can't we market people, not everybody's designed to be at our elite status. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that we tell the people we are the elite?
Yeah, but the reality is that you have more and more of the people come in this business, because like it or not, the home inspectors almost become generic in the public's mind. I don't care what you say. They just become generic. You know, if you're a home inspector,
And
you're a home
websites and
inspector.
everything.
The whole 9 yards.
You're right.
And to keep the organization viable, you've got to have membership.
Absolutely.
Right.
And when you make it so difficult that nobody is willing to achieve that, it's gonna die on its own. I mean, it's gonna die on its own
It
because
survived all the way from the beginning.
times have changed, times have changed.
Is it
Let me
And constantly our membership has come down.
let me make this point
And
about,
this board and the previous boards have done everything that we know to increase membership.
Yeah.
Started when Jim Howell was president back 2000 or something like that. And we
years ago.
spent a ton of money trying to market and increase memberships, and have tried 15 or 20 different strategies to increase memberships, and it's still going down.
The purpose, obviously, I think all of you surely understand, and John, I don't disagree with you. Our hope, our desire is that those people who are coming in at least feel as though at a base level that they are part of the association. It is your own individual responsibility to develop your educational background and get to a level that's recognized, and that's an important word for the public and for the realtors to recognize a difference between those people who basically have come through generic basic training, maybe have taken one or two of the code tests, but haven't followed through the process to take all of the code tests to become an R5 certification. Our intent and our desire is to create, for those members who come in and be a part of the association who are not an R5, to recognize the importance of being there. Right now, the only importance in their mind is to be part of an association. And it's easy to be part of some other associations. I say easy. It's not as difficult to be a part of some other associations as it is this one currently, based upon the limitations that we create. But when you feel like you're actually a part, that you actually have some input and presence and a certain element of recognition, your desire, hopefully, and that's an individual choice, to elevate yourself, to improve yourself. I mean, like I said, all I can do is attest to myself.
What's going to happen 5 years from now?
5 years from now, if we don't do anything, we won't be sitting here.
Everybody's retired, well, wait, at the end of 5 years, what's going to happen? How many people are going to have the initiative?
But the market takes care of part of it, because new construction, you have to be code certified to do new construction, unless somehow you're lying about your credentials, or you're trying to be just an ICC member, and you're sending that over to the builder, saying, well, I'm an ICC member, doesn't mean you're a ICC.
They won't accept that.
Yeah. But the market's taking care of it. Plus you have the forms, market forms of municipalities. There's more municipalities in Georgia now. They're more sophisticated, and they are much more strong on code enforcement. And they need code certified inspectors right now. That's another market force that's going to
The
drive
purpose
more
is
and
to
more
create,
people
John, I'll
to
get you in a
get the
second.
R5 certification.
The purpose is to create a sense of, number one, of connectivity, because right now, an applicant, and Michael attests to this, an applicant, as his elbow gets bent frequently from some applicants, when am I going to get da-da-da-da? When am I going to get da-da-da-da? And Mike says, when are you going to get your R5? When you get your R5, I mean, we create a hurdle that's as high as this roof to get through before you can say you can be a part of the association. Again, I know you may feel like we're trying to dilute it, but what we're actually trying to do is create a little broader base and give those people who have come into that base a sense that I've got to move up. I've got to move up, and we provide them, at this stage right now, the only real opportunities for someone to support them in learning the code process. Unfortunately, Keith Guy, Steve Johnson, Gary Lewis, Daniel Jewett, of course. I knew there'd be a day when we come to this point when they're not part of us. And with that loss and that degree of expertise and training, we don't have that support. Unless there's somebody in here who feels wanting to be able to step into those shoes and take that by hand and help these members that would be coming into us.
I can't tell you
When
how
the
many.
Tom Birch Academy started failing, was there any attempt to replace these instructors as we lost them? I understand they're paid positions, okay? You got a salary there, it's just not volunteer.
They were all members of the association.
They were,
But they're paid.
They were paid based upon the class structure.
Okay?
but we had to meet a demand for students. And there wasn't the demand there. Randall's been running the school for years, he knows how many people.
Yeah, most people, they don't wanna go to a class, they wanna do it online.
The IPA, I understand it, the IT, the Legacy. What, did anybody try to fight it?
How?
Like they say in politics, put the gas pedal down? You know,
How?
instead of go backwards? It seems
Yes.
like we're just going
The answer,
backwards.
yes.
We did everything we possibly
Let me
could.
say something. I can't tell you how many emails, phone calls a week I spend talking to these applicants that want to know what they need to do to move forward. And through the argument process that Will and Charlie put together, these classes that we were able to come up with and working with AHIT, that was the best avenue that we currently have to help these guys work toward getting their certifications. And when they call me and say, have been an applicant, what do I need to do to move forward? And my only answer is you've got to be R5 at this point. But you need to go to, if they've not already been to AHIT, then you need to look at these other two avenues or look out on your own through ICC and other avenues to try to start getting your certification. And then they become overwhelmed because we're not giving them any real support to help them because they do want to be a part of our organization. They realize the value that they will get from this.
One of the things that we had in years past, and I'm sure some of you guys sitting here went through these things, you had study groups that met. I mean, I actually conducted one here for almost 4 years, a number of years back, when we actually sat down and reviewed through the code book, through sections, and discussed it. Now, it's good if the person who leads that, and I am by far not qualified to that standpoint, to be that finite in code knowledge to lead a group to that level. I mean, we were exceedingly fortunate that we had those 5 guys to be in our association, members of this association, inspectors of this association, to dedicated and knowledgeable and could do that. They developed a program, they developed a syllabus for the whole entire process. They came from us. If we didn't go outside and seek them, at least they were already here when I came, so I don't know how otherwise that process came about. But
Let me add something to that, good point, Joe. The point is that these guys were it was a labor of love for them to do this, and they got reimbursed as being independent contractors. They were not employees of the Tim Birch Academy. So they came up with their cost, and the Tim Birch Academy basically reimbursed them for their cost because they knew the importance of doing what they did, and they loved doing it.
John, you had a question. I saw you had a question back there.
Bill had a question.
So first of all, I hear your concern. Joe, you said earlier that this move will not just, it will hopefully expand, not dilute the GAHI brand. There is a risk that it might dilute it somewhat. That is a legitimate concern, I think. But the alternative is zero expansion, and there's no one in this room, like you said, 5 years from now. And that's been my concern as a younger member here, saying, is GAHI even going to be here in 5 years? The reality is, as someone starting out right now, you got a couple of choices. And if you're starting out, it's probably not ASHI and GAHI. You're probably looking at NonGAHI. Because you can sign up online, pay your $50, and by the time that evening is over, you can be a certified inspector.
That's right.
With pool credentials.
Correct.
I know, because I interviewed.
Correct.
Flashlight and a screw.
So that's what we're up against. NonGAHI has 763 members in the state of Georgia. They put ASHI to shame on their membership. And it's because they've set the bar so low. And so if you say to someone looking at getting into the industry, they say, how do I become an home inspector? I can take calls 2 or 3 times a week. People call me, want me to either hire them or to train them. And they say, how do I become a home inspector? I say, well, you got a couple options. Here's what they are. I'm a member of GAHI. It's the best organization in the entire country, has the highest standards, and that's what you need to shoot for. But to get your foot in the door, you got to be able to answer when a realtor says, are you a certified inspector? And if you can't say I'm certified, they're going to be like, well, you're not serving my client. When a customer calls up and says, are you certified? You've got to be able to say you're certified.
Everybody says they're certified.
Everybody's
Correct.
certified, right?
But if the choice is, I can become certified by the end of the night, or I've got to take 5 certification tests and do 250 paid inspections before I become certified, which way are you going to head?
Amen.
Now, I'm saying this also, though. I think that the master certification, we need to increase the number of inspections. You need to get that. And here's why. When I started out doing my first inspection. 9 months later, I was a full certified GAHI member. I'd done all the tests, done my 250 inspections. But 9 months in inspecting houses, I did not in any way deserve the title of master anything. I was just getting my feet wet. I was still making mistakes all over the place. Now, NonGAHI does have a master certification, and I'll be prepared, just to let you know, Nick has a way of loving to take people to court. Nick Gromyko, president of NonGAHI. He will take people to court that use the same wording of any of his stuff. So just make sure we talk to our lawyer about this master certification designation.
Right.
Because if he finds out about it, he could get riled up.
That's why you have to go with master code certified.
Correct. But just that being said,
Exactly.
all that being said, his master inspector designation requires 1,000 inspections, minimum 3 years in business, and supposedly peer reviews of your reports, which they don't really do. I know, because I have that.
$1,000 or $1,500.
Yeah.
1,000 a little too high.
1,000 inspections is what he wants. And you pay him $2,500 for it, too. You pay $2,500 to get this.
Oh, man.
Who else there?
All right, so that being said, I'm just saying, at 250 inspections, you can do that pretty quick. If you got your act together, you do your 250 inspections, get your code certs done, are you really a master? Was I a master inspector at 9 months in? I just say I don't think I deserve that title, but I'm just saying that for
So
y'all's
what
consideration.
you're saying, you would like to see us change the 250 to 1,000?
No, maybe just 500, I don't know, but I just think 250, you can get that done pretty quick, starting out. And it's a little bit low for a master level inspector, in my opinion.
What if we look at and not only changing the number of inspections for that category, but maybe at least 3 years worth of doing inspections?
Something like that, but I just
Something
think,
that gives-
you don't want someone who's 9 months in to be a master inspector, because I sure as heck didn't know what I was doing still.
Well, the certification here, the requirements is 2 years experience.
Yeah, right now that's pretty much, but this can be adjusted.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
part of the
it's
reason for
flexible.
this meeting is to get your feedback to see what other adjustments, potentials that we can look at here.
This is
To
good
stiffen
stuff,
it.
guys.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for y'all's investment. The reality that I can wear a GAHI badge is only a reality because of the countless hours that you men on stage and a number of you others sitting here have invested over the past 2 decades. And that's not something I take lightly, and it's something I hope doesn't die out in the next 5 years. Because I still want to wear that badge 20 years from now.
You're gonna make me cry.
Just saying it like it is.
Let me add this, and I mean it from my heart. I've been on the board for 13 years, and some of these other guys have been here longer than I. And we're concerned about GAHI and want it to be the best that it can be. So these changes that we're proposing are intended to improve our organization and to keep it viable and to keep it strong. That's the motive behind why this proposal has been presented.
And that's why you gotta make it so that someone can get certified at some level easier than it is now in GAHI. Because otherwise they're gonna go somewhere else.
Part of it is the motivation at the lower end to recognize that they need to be here. And it's you know, personal motivation.
I'm told David Bledsoe's had his hand up for a while. We're going to go to him.
Then Mike.
Okay.
I was going to mention what he said. When I started, I went with NACI, which is now International. And they're not good anymore. I mean, I think they got some of the best training out there.
Great online
They
training.
do have good training.
And I think we ought to look at it, if you're a master International, that you get some credit for that. If you maybe came to our annual meeting, maybe that's the qualifications that put you at least a second tier. And there are 700-some people out there from International. I think we ought to try to get some of those people to come here.
Well, International
and give them
spent
some credit for
went
some
to
of
20,000 over the last 2 months ago, and that's something that Gromiko's been commenting about. 20,000 members, that's International.
All right, what I hear is all good and probably has to be executed for the masses, okay? I hear rebranding and I hear a changing in the business model such that we can execute and broaden our attraction. That's what I hear from everything that's been said. Now, I think we need to tie that somewhere in with an active drive for public relations to the real estate people, because I really think real estate people have lost all perception of what certified, master certified, da. You know, I mean.
They only matter to us.
They only matter to us. I hear the energy on
Let
what we do.
let me cue it up for these two guys right here. There's some things that you may or may not know about that happen behind the scenes that I try to promote from the podium, but may or may not get totally, to use that 75-cent word again, inculcated. Number one, a good portion of these guys that are sitting right here go to the Realtor Showcase every year down at the Cobb Galleria. In fact, we just spent a day down there setting up our big signs and stuff. So the real estate agents do see GAHI every year at the Realtor Showcase. Also, this guy right here, Richard, and Joe have spent untold numbers of hours, along with Will Shipley's help. We do now, and again, this is not publicized, maybe it ought to be more, we do now have a, call it training session for realtors. They have come up with a pitch that they go have a lunch and learn with realtor shows. And our friend Cleve Gaddis, the realtor guy, they've been to talk to him and his group. Richard has some other ones in Brazelton, they've got one. So yes, we are doing.
All right, but here's what I'm saying. Realtors went through the same evolution in 2009, 10, and 11 that home inspectors did when business went down. FMLS hung up more than 600 licenses in that period of time. We have new realtors that I'm leaving here going to McDonough to speak to a group right after I leave here. These are all, 31 of them have had their license less than a year. All right, so they're all looking for what, that's how I got invited to this group, okay? So I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying.
Well,
I just hope that we continue to reach out to the education
That's
part
good.
that everybody up there has and everybody in this room
Get
has.
that information to us and to Will, and let them know that we have a CEU qualified class for home inspections. And we teach them the process from code to close.
Or I did not know that.
That's
I hate to be ignorant, but I
We
did
have
not
a
know that.
3-hour
Three-hour
class.
CE course.
We have a 3-hour CEU course.
I did.
And we'd be happy to schedule and go down and do the presentation for them. We've done it 4 times. It's not been easy to this point right now, partly because a lot of the CEU programs that realtors do, they do at the beginning of the year, and once they're done, they ain't gonna come to a class. Because they're out selling houses, they're not looking to sit down in a class for a CEU level that they don't need. until the next year.
Will and I were I was talking to a realtor and we were making connections and trying to set up other meetings and found out that, oh no, now you've got to be a member of the board of realtors to actually give a presentation to the board. Because we were focusing on board of realtors to actually give the presentation to.
They are actually reviewing their documents right now, but go ahead.
So in doing that, we said, well, what is a membership in the board of realtors and what does it cost? And what does it pay back to us? Well, the payback may be a list of emails and names of all the realtors that are actually assigned to that board of realtors. That's a marketing list. And it's also a, hey, we can give a CE course. And they see, even if they don't come, they see GAHI. Oh, the CE course by GAHI. Oh, I can't make that. But GAHI, it's in their head, it's in their head. Who is GAHI? And if everybody here has a pile of pens, goes to offices and drops off pens, they say, oh, GAHI. Oh, it's the only association in the country that requires IRC code certification. Getting the logo out, believe me, I'm focused on marketing for the next 2 years.
Only now they don't.
No, we have to cut it out.
The only master association.
It makes a defining of the process now. If this process is accepted, which I hope that it is, because it means for the future of the association down the road, 5, 10 years, et cetera, and down the road, and when John is sitting up here as your president at some point, maybe, who knows? But it provides us, it puts an impetus, like
Hang
I
on
said,
just
on
one
us
second before
and
you
you
leave.
members
Excuse me, Joe. We're starting to lose some people. Russell already left. Will, would you be kind enough to share the link for people to go fill out the survey?
It'll be in the CEU. I'm going to send it specially to
Oh, it's going out with the CEU?
Yes, the survey is done, but it'll go out with your CEUs and be in your inbox
Great.
in a couple hours.
Sorry, you can leave now.
But anyway, the impetus falls back on us as your board of directors for communicating to the real estate industry, because obviously to the client in general becomes another category as a means of how to identify that, and that comes to the website. But it also it makes a change to some degree as to what we present, and that's a line item change to make the definition. But you are also responsible. It's not just these guys sitting up here. You are also responsible for educating the realtors that you work with, and in a soft way, kind of explain to your client what the difference is, because most of them have no clue. Some of them heard what codes are, but they have no real understanding as to what that means. I know Charles had it. Charles Wilson.
Yeah, couple things. When I look at it, I say, what's GAHI's competitive advantage? To me, one is our standards of practice, which is higher than ASHI's, NACHI's, or anybody else's.
Right.
Number two is we're R5 code certified inspectors. And so to me, those are the two things that make us unique from everybody else. We can duplicate ASHI or NACHI with things as much as we want, but those are the two things that make us unique. Having said that, I understand we need to increase membership. As probably one of the newer members, I was one of those guys that was an applicant for a couple of years. And in the process, I realized that there was an advantage, and I do very little new construction, so it wasn't to get into that end of the business. But I saw through being in the meetings and being an applicant that there was an advantage to going for my certifications. And so we went down that road and became a certified member. So what we have is unique compared to everybody else, and we want to play to that to a degree. But in terms of bringing other members in, I think if we had an associate level to where somebody could say, again, you go to NACHI with 700 members in the state and say, or they're a new guy and they start off and they spend the night getting their membership. Well, come start out as an associate member with GAHI. We have the training, we have the standards, and it will help make you a better inspector, which is one of the things I have realized in sitting in the meetings and becoming code certified would help me be a better overall inspector. And so if we do away with just the inspector level and make it an applicant, a certified inspector, 250, and then the master code certified, I don't think we're deluding ourselves too much because, you know, if you've been around for a year and you've done 250 inspections, or 2 years and done 250 inspections, at that point, maintaining our standards of practice and sitting in the meetings so that you can continually get the continuing education hours you need each year, I think that in itself will prompt the person to say it's worth going down the road to become R5 certified. So, but again, the two things is our competitive advantage is our standards of practice and the R5, and you know, bringing somebody in at a lower level and then in a reasonable amount of time being able to let them say they're a certified GAHI member, well, then we still have, you know, the master code certified, and those are the guys that you really want to be.
That's part of the thinking here is that when they come in, they feel like, and they are physically part of the association and are recognized at that level, that then it becomes a part of the encouragement, the motivation of them as a business person if they really want to do this business.
And the culture.
And the culture, yeah, that's a good word, too. And the culture of the association to recognize, I have to progress. And to do that, this is what I've got to do. We are right now pointing them in that direction, the best available that we can find, unless there's somebody out here in our association that feels strongly enough that they can teach a basic code class, whether it's the building code or whichever the code class is, that feels as though that they can help these guys understand what would they be facing when they take an ICC test. And that's really what the class is all about. And I think that's what interview class is. $3,000 for a study hall to go through 4 classes. I mean, I don't remember exactly what I paid. I don't think it was anything close to that collectively. But
well, I think having the lower level where you don't have to be code certified so that you can use the logo and say you're a member, I think is an advantage, because the GAHI label, I think, does carry a lot of weight with builders and with the things we're doing for realtors, and not having to be code certified so that you could do that, I think has its advantages. But again, it's getting the people here, getting them in our environment, and then as we do things, they'll see. But having that middle level to where they can say they're a member and use the logo, I think is good. I don't think we need 4 levels, but.
Right. And right now, when an applicant comes on board and he opens the door, the guy, he sees 2 things staring him in the face. $3,000 investment to get the training he needs to get R5 certified. And I got to get R5 certified before I can get out of this basement category in GAHI to be really get the warm and fuzzies that I'm a GAHI member. So that roadblock is staring him right in the face. And he's thinking, hell, I'll just go join the International. I do that. I post that on my website. Put their logo out there.
I want to believe there are a lot of people that go to our website, and I don't know if you've asked when people how they come about contacting you, but I get a fair number of people that just from their own methodology and research say, I found you on the Georgia Association of Home Inspectors website. I mean, that happens. I mean, who here has never had that, or maybe if you haven't asked, you won't know, but who's never had that as a reply? I think all of us have had that as a reply. So part of the process is for someone who goes to that degree, other than just saying my real estate agent said to call you and da-da-da-da. So who goes to that degree, they're going to read what's on that website. And when we start telling them what the differences are, believe me, I don't know anybody that's not going to start at the top of the list and look at those people first, because they're going to feel confident that those individuals are the most experienced. And that then creates a motivation for those that are below that level, that I've got to be here if I want to be a part of this association. And it's always a deciding point.
I don't want to extend this a whole lot longer, but just what he said. Just this past week, I had a customer call me and said, I'm on the GAHI website and I'm looking at the certified inspectors, and I need an inspection done, within the next couple of days. I said, I'm booked up, I can't do it. And the customer said, okay, I'll just go on down the list of the GAHI certified inspectors. So, we're there. That's, but, we might not be there a couple of years from now if we don't make some changes.
Well, how many times we get a hit on our site in a month? What's our average running?
I don't have the numbers offhand.
It's close, it's pushing toward 500.
Yeah.
And we
Okay,
have
let's take one more comment or question. I've already taken 20 minutes of your time, which I appreciate. We had another comment or question here.
Yeah, I have kind of mixed feelings on it. Of course, I've come up to the ranks where we went through 80 builders to where we are getting along with builders and seeing them as convenience. But I have mixed feelings on it because I think we are diluting the brand. And people, if they go to the website, yeah, they might be able to see a difference if they go to that master heading there. But what's going to happen is we're certifying people out there as certified inspectors that are going to be passing out business cards that say, I'm a GAHI certified inspector. Now, these are competition against people. In other words, what's the incentive to get that code certification anymore? Being a Me Too, like NonGAHI or GAHI, was never the answer for me. It was keeping us above the fray. I'm just not sure. I see what you're saying. I sympathize with it. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Got mixed feelings on it.
Can I say something?
Please.
I think the 3 designations would be the best. I want to say certified and the master. And
That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
And we might break it down simpler to where it is right now.
I think certified and master certified are too close.
Yeah, it's sort of, the term certified may be just, whether we classify it associate, we call it base member, or, a base member, and then give it another level. Scott?
Two quick questions, not to muddy the water anymore, but has the board considered what the levels are for the current ICC to be a member? And has there been any discussion about licensing? A lot of this big problem back in 2006 was that there was a big push for licensing in the state of Georgia. Is there any talk about if that comes back? Because I have had rumblings that with all the new inspectors coming back into the game, with new construction ramping back up, there could be a rumbling again to try to bring about licensing in the state of Georgia. Has that been considered with all of this?
I haven't heard a word about it. We haven't been talking about it, and I think, I think it's certainly our mixed feelings about licensing, because as the whole process is, people are given driver's license every day that don't even know how to drive. So, what about ASHI? If y'all, you said that rumblings from the standpoint of members talking about wanting that, or some from other resource?
We've just heard, agents say that, whatever happened to licensing because builders are licensed. And of course, our answer is always that we spend tens of thousands of dollars, as I know GAHI spent money back in the day, to try to bring about licensing, and, it was shot down.
And we got it. It was passed a few years ago. The Georgia legislature in Sonny Perdue vetoed it.
Exactly, and nobody knows the answer to why, but if you ask my opinion, it's all about follow the money.
No, he said why he vetoed it. He said specifically, why should the state be paying the police organization or inspectors when the professional organizations are already doing that at their own expense?
Well,
we
know he's fundamentally dead wrong.
Yeah, and Georgia's the only southeastern state that doesn't license home inspectors.
Right, and when I talk to people in states where they have licenses, they said what happened is the number of inspectors doubled overnight, the quality of the inspections went dumped into dirt, and it was a negative, a big negative licensing. So if anybody in here wants
Please answer
licensing,
the survey.
go find another job.
Quick
Please
comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Regarding the 3 or 4 categories, I can understand the 4th category, associate, but it needs maybe to have logo privilege, no logo privileges for that category. Pardon?
I don't think associate has logo privilege.
Well, it doesn't specify on it.
There's no logo privilege.
And I wouldn't put it on the website either.
Yeah.
So it's just more of a designation until they get their dual helmet licensing exam. what, 75 inspections, they can do that without
I'm in my business.
having it be published category.
Please give us feedback.
Okay, I think a survey's gonna come out, and then, of course, we're gonna put this up for vote in January, where we're gonna go from here.
Thank
Thank you for your time, appreciate you.
All the comments